Following a horrific motorcycle accident in his 20s, Dr. I. King Jordan lost his hearing. The doctors believed it would return, but that was not the case. He would now have to navigate the world in a way he had never experienced, in total silence.
I was a young sailor who worked in the Pentagon. Young, tough kids rode motorcycles without helmets in the 60s. I was driving and a car turned in front of me. I hit the car and my head went through the windshield. So when I woke up in the hospital, I was deaf.
He enrolled at Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., the world's only university for deaf and hearing impaired students. But he was new at being deaf and hadn't learned American Sign Language yet, so he had to relearn how to learn.
Everybody signed, and they signed fast, and I didn't know sign. So I had to learn quickly. But it was at Gallaudet that I learned to be a deaf man. I met deaf professors, I met deaf administrators, I met lots and lots of deaf students.
After graduating from Gallaudet, Dr. Jordan went on to the University of Tennessee for his master's and PhD. Once again, he was faced with new challenges. This time, how to navigate a non-deaf university as a deaf person.
I asked the person in the class, I said, if I buy you carbon paper, when you take your notes, will you make a copy for me? As my graduate experience went on, I would have 2 or 3 people doing that in each class. So I had the best notes of anybody in the class.
Returning to Gallaudet University, Dr. Jordan rose to be Dean of the Psychology Department. In 1988, the university began a search for a new president. Dr. Jordan was one of 3 finalists.
There was a lot of activism on campus. Students had banners hanging from the windows of the dorm. They had a march on campus. So they were letting the board know we really want a deaf president. So students were gathered around the auditorium. And while they were waiting, staff people from the president's office came out with papers. So the students went through the roof. They were expecting to be told in person, and instead they got a press release. They started burning the press release, and then they started to protest.
The Board of Trustees initially offered the position to a non-deaf, non-American Sign Language speaking person. But after a week-long protest by the students, known as Deaf President Now, the appointee resigned, and Dr. Jordan became the first deaf president since Gallaudet University was founded in 1864.
When I was first appointed president, on Monday morning we had a press conference. The press conference went along really well. And then at the very end, one of the local TV people stood up and said, "Congratulations." But even when the students graduate from Gallaudet, they have a college education, what kind of jobs will they do? And the way he asked that question was like a punch in the stomach. Everything was so positive. So without much thinking, I just said, well, deaf people can do anything except hear.
He led the university for 18 years, retiring in 2006. In his role as president, King became a powerful voice for people with disabilities. He also helped in the development of communication tools for people with hearing impairments, collaborating with Utah's own Sorensen Communications.
What VRS does when I make a phone call, instead of reaching you on the phone, I reach an interpreter on my TV screen. So when you talk to me, instead of my hearing you, I see what you say in sign language from the interpreter. And Sorensen Communication was really the lead provider of VRS services. And Jim Sorensen came to Gallaudet and set up equipment there.
No matter the challenge, Dr. Jordan found a way over it, around it, or through it.
I was really traumatized when I had the accident. And it was difficult until I started to realize that my life was good. And I met my wife, for example, after I became deaf. I was a professor, then I was an administrator, then I became president. None of that would have happened if I hadn't had the accident and I hadn't become deaf. And I sometimes tell people that it's better to be DEAF than DEAD.